guys, today I'm going to be adding an awesome new mod to my 2016 Toyota Tacoma off-road. This new mod will allow me to turn on the rear-facing camera anytime I want. That means if I'm in drive, rolling down the highway, I can click a switch and see right behind me. I'm also going to be adding a front-facing camera, and that is going to be super handy on tight trails, parking spaces, driving throughout the city, or just if I want to lay back and drive remotely from the screen of my truck. Just kidding, I would never do that. I am super excited to inform you guys that I have partnered with the owner of TRDmod.com, and we are going to be giving away 2 complete sets. So that's going to be anytime rear-facing camera mod and a front-facing camera. Super awesome setup, guys. So we're going to be giving one away. So this is a fairly new channel and we want to grow. We want to get more people on board, part of the community, watching this stuff, getting inspired and working on their rigs. So as an effort to help grow my channel, we're going to be doing this giveaway. All you got to do is share one of my videos to one of your social media platforms. It could be this video, it could be your favorite video, but share it on one of your social media platforms. Facebook, Tacoma World, Instagram might be kind of tough because you'd have to download the video to show it and you'd only be able to show a few seconds of it, but that doesn't, so it's kind of weird. That way people can watch the videos, they can get introduced to my channel, and then you might possibly win something. So hit that share button, grab the link, drop it on your Facebook, tag me, Max Powell, in it, give me a little shout out and you'll be entered to win. I'll put your name down on a list. Come back to the comment section, hit done. We will be doing a drawing pretty soon, probably a few weeks from now, and I will check back and I will make sure, I will go confirm and make sure that you did enter, so no cheats. And then if you want to, jump over to my Instagram and there'll be a whole different set of rules if you want to win a second set on the Instagram. So boom, let's get into this install. Before I get too into this, I want to point out that this is pretty much an overview of the installation process, not necessarily a detailed how-to. Wiring is confusing enough as it is, and I don't want to lead anyone astray. So I just kind of want to show you guys what it takes, how easy this is, and then let you guys go after it yourself. The instructions are pretty clear, very straightforward. I'm pretty sure pretty much anybody can do this themselves. This mod comes as a kit from TRDmod.com, making it super simple to do it yourself. Pretty much plug and play as far as I can tell. Let's dive into it and I'll show you guys what I'm doing. So we're gonna take a look at what's in this box here. When you're looking at this, it's kind of like a lot, but man, you can see how much work he's really put into these bundles. They look really clean. To do this yourself would just be insane. I mean, I think installing it is gonna be enough work for me. Yeah, this is our front-facing camera here. You don't have to buy these all together. You can buy just the rear camera mod, which I think is a little bit simpler install. And then of course, if you want to go all out, you can get the front-facing mod. It's also included this cool cubby hole. This is gonna fit OEM style switches. I already have one, and we have another wire harness here. He's included our instructions, and they're detailed, they're colored, they're pretty detailed. I think we should be able to get through this together. Shouldn't be too hard. But we're gonna start off with a 10mm socket, wire strippers and crimps, Phillips tip screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, panel pry tool. Now he did leave a link to where you could buy one of these. Soldering iron if you're gonna be doing the soldering. This is a pink one I stole from my wife a long time ago. And if you're gonna be soldering, you're gonna need some of this soldering goop and some solder, of course. Heat gun and heat sinks if you're soldering. If you're gonna do quick connections, that's one way to do it. 1. Remove bezel around radio by pulling straight out on bezel trim. Set bezel trim aside. Remove 4 10mm bolts holding the head unit in place. All right, I'm really hoping that I can get this Pro Clip steel off. It should just come with the trim though. So I'm gonna use my little pry tool, pry back here, and here. This comes straight off with my phone mount, that's good. All right, and then there's 4 10mm socket heads there. I think it might help you guys out to throw a little extension on. All right, there's our head unit is out. Once head unit has been pulled out from the dash, locate the 28 pin and 24 pin harness. All right, so this is definitely my 28 pin. I believe, according to the picture, this is the 24 pin, although I'm showing a lot less wires in the 24 pin. than this picture shows. So we'll see if that makes a difference or not. Our next step is to disconnect the 28-pin harness from the back of our head unit and insert the 28-pin harness that is included in our kit, and then connect the supplied harness into your head unit. So we're gonna leave those out for later, and we're gonna go ahead and connect our other side. Now I'm starting to feel like we're doing the whole kit at once, the Anytime mod and the front facing camera mod. Okay, so that is connected. Analog wires, a relay, a ground, and a positive wire coming off. So the next steps basically pertain to pulling out this cubby hole. And like I was saying earlier, I already have switches in here. And so this is what that little cubby hole filler will look like. So the next step is to pry this panel back so that we can access the switch behind here. Don't be shy, just get in there and pull that panel back. Watch me go. Alright, so it might help you to use something kind of rigid like this. I use this kind of wire that I have. Something to feed, to push it into the panels down here. So what I've done is I've been able to push mine down into this panel, and what I'll do is I'll attach my wires to the end of it and I'll pull them so that I can feed it all the way underneath and through to this side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of medical tape and I'm going to tape the red and black wire to my stiff rigid wire and start to pull this through. So I'm just going to feed this back behind like this, make sure that it's going to tuck underneath this trim, and it's going to go to one of my switches here. So I'm going to take this black wire that I just ran from the 28 pin and I'm going to connect and splice it to the green wire coming off of the switch. So I need to strip it, solder it, heat shrink it, all that. Just use the heat from the soldering iron to melt down the heat shrink here. Our next step is to connect this red wire here to one of these two reds on this green connector. So look for red number 1 is the one next to the green, so we know it's going to be this side here. So now I need to get the red and black wire coming off of our 24 pin, the one on this side. I need to get them over by my switches, so I'm going to do the same thing with this brown wire that I've got. Next up, solder this red wire coming off of the 24 pin. It should be labeled FC Relay Red Wire on your diagram, and we are going to solder it to the red number 1 wire coming off of our front facing camera switch. So this next part might throw some of you guys off if you're not careful. We want to take this black ground wire and we want to ground it to the body somewhere. Now, I don't want to lead you guys astray. I have kind of a system in place here that not everyone's going to have. Let me show you. So I have this Blue Sea fuse panel thing, and it's got a bunch of spots for grounds, and of course it's got a bunch of fuses. And instead of like tapping a bunch of wires into the body all over in different places, I run them all up to here. That way they plug into these little grounds. And then all I have to do is tap into one of the wires that's going to that spot already. And so I've already located that here, and all my switches are tapping into this ground here, which I've exposed, and I'll go ahead and solder those on and then clean it up and make it look good. Theoretically speaking, this should work. I'm not an expert, I don't know. Half the time I put all this stuff together, then I try to turn it on, it doesn't work, and then I have to go back through and try to figure it all out. It's always frustrating. Okay, so I've got that black wire coming from our 24 pin all grounded up, and then all these switches, the switch here and this switch here, also lead to the same ground. It kind of looks like a rat's nest right now, but don't worry, we'll clean it all up. Don't stress out, guys, it's not that bad. Next up, we're gonna locate the yellow RCA jack labeled FC in. I believe that's this guy coming off of our relay here. We're gonna take our other end of this super long cord, we're gonna stuff it down in here. All right, I'm yarding all this stuff through now. As you can see, I got a ton of cord. What I'm gonna do, I taped it to the end of our stiff cable here. I'm gonna push it through the firewall and run it up to the front. Somewhere up in here in this region is like a little donut-shaped rubber gasket with a hole in the middle, and you can push wires up through it, and that's how you get through your firewall. All right, so for this application, this red wire here does not need to be used, so don't worry about that. Same goes for the red wire that's coming off of this harness here, one here. So you just leave those out. For the front-facing camera, it needs to get power from somewhere, whether it's a switch inside the cab or whatever you want it to do. It's kind of up to you. So there's a plug-in that's gonna plug into that red analog switch, and then you're gonna have a ground wire and a power wire here. I'm gonna use my fuse panel, because that just keeps all my stuff organized. There's lots of ways to run power like this. I would highly recommend investing in one of these fuse panels. It just takes all the guesswork out of everything. Like, you know where your ground is, you know where your power is, and it brings that whole, like, what would have been a rat's nest, it just brings it all together. Those guys are all tapped in there. That's put away. I do have some extra, quite a bit of extra cord. All right, we're almost there, guys. So now for your front-facing camera, you need to take your red number 2, and it needs to go to a power source. You can tap your red number 2 from your front-facing camera into the same power source as your rear-facing cameras, and you're gonna connect them in like this. It'll make more sense once I do it. I'll show you. Got some heat shrink. I'm gonna solder these two together, and then I'll take those two ends over to our power source here. If you guys remember correctly, this power source was coming off of a little plug-in that we put in on that head. So this is the part that might sketch some of you guys out. I don't want you to worry too much. It's not bad, it's not hard. So far, you've seen we've only been connecting like the wires that are supplied to each other. We haven't really messed with the truck's wiring at all. Don't freak out about this. This part is completely optional too. So if you don't want to cut any wires in your truck, you don't have to. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. I'll show you exactly what this does. If the truck's on and then you turn on your dashboard lights, I've got mine wired to where these little indicator lights will light up blue, right? And what you're doing is you're running power that's going to this switch, because this lights up blue as well. So you're just tapping into the wire that turns the light on here. And to do that, there's a little tan wire coming off the side. I've pulled it out of the harness so you guys can see. You might have to cut this tape to pull yours out. And what you want to do is strip back a little bit and solder in the wires that are going to light up directly off of that guy. Now there's other switches you can run them off of too. This one's just the easiest to identify. You can see here I've stripped it back and soldered in this wire, this red wire here, and that's what lights up this guy. I'm going to do the same for these leftover wires that are coming off the sides of both these switches. So this should be your red number 2s. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to wire these two together, and then I'm going to tap into that tan wire down there, and then I'm going to make sure I wrap it all up really good and tight and get it nice and insulated. And then these should turn on anytime those are on. There we go. You can see they're all lighting up. I'm going to go in here with some zip ties and just kind of clean everything up. So this should just snap right back into place. So overall, wiring's pretty straightforward. I know I didn't explain it to the finest detail, but that camera cord's gonna run up to the front here. Let me show you. My power and information cable just runs right through here. You can see it's got a little connector there, and I run it down. And this is where I put my camera. Now, so far all I did was use the 3M tape, and I taped it up to the inside like this, and it seems to be holding like perfectly fine, I'm sure. I mean, it's solid, it's on there. I didn't have to put any screws. That's where I put it. On the camera, you can't even really tell that it's not completely centered, and it works really, really well. We're pulling the trailer on its premature maiden voyage. I gotta go super slow because the tent's not even tied down. But I'm just driving through my neighborhood. It's pretty much closed off area, and then going into a church parking lot. But so as you can see, I'm in drive right now. I start to question myself, did I close the pintle hitch off or not? Throw that on, I can easily check it. Yep, totally good to go while driving forward. I think this is probably the best example of what you would use this for. Pretty cool. Then say I want to look forward ahead of me, switch on the front facing camera, and I'm good to go. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it helps you guys figure out your wiring. I know that it's not perfect. I know that I didn't disclose every single step. A lot of that's just because it might not apply to your rig. It really only applies to my rig. And then 9 times out of 10, you just gotta get in there and figure this kind of stuff out. So this is just a brief overview of the installation process, kind of what to expect when you get in there. I highly encourage you guys to go pick up this product, especially if you have a trailer. It's super handy. I've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of fun using it on the highway just to change lanes or whatever you're going to do with it. So I'm really looking forward to getting the truck out on the trail and using the front-facing camera and the rear-facing camera while off-roading. If you guys follow along with the vlog, I'm sure you guys will see more of this thing in action. But for now, that's the end of the vlog. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.